Here's what dealerships will never tell you when you're shopping for motorcycles. What if I told you that the average rider overpays by $4,000 on every single purchase? That's not an exaggeration. $4,000 disappears into hidden fees, marked up interest rates, and financial products designed to fund the dealer's offshore investment accounts. Picture yourself walking out of the showroom thinking you got a great deal, only to realize years later you've been paying for the owner's retirement fund. In this video, I'm exposing the 23 financial tactics dealerships use to extract maximum profit from every transaction. And trust me, number one will shock you. It's the margin they claim doesn't exist, but actually gives them massive room to negotiate. Stay until the end, because this isn't just information. It's your blueprint for flipping the negotiation entirely and walking out with thousands still in your pocket. Number 23. Walking away is your ultimate leverage. Every dealership operates under crushing monthly sales quotas. Their internal cash flow depends on hitting specific targets, and when the end of the month approaches, that pressure becomes suffocating. When you stand up and walk toward the door, you're not just refusing a deal, you're threatening their ability to meet quota. That single action forces a manager to intervene, and suddenly all those non-negotiable fees become negotiable. The dealer needs your sale far more than you need that specific bike. This asymmetry is your foundation. Everything else builds from here. Number 22. Use reliability data to destroy warranty sales. Dealers push certain bikes harder than others, usually ones sitting on the floor too long, racking up holding costs. They compensate by aggressively selling extended warranties. Here's the counter. Arm yourself with reliability data before you walk in. Consumer Reports publishes lists of motorcycles known for exceptional performance and reliability. When the finance manager starts their warranty pitch, you simply reference the bike's proven track record. A reliable machine doesn't need a marked-up service contract. This tactic removes one of their highest margin profit centers from the table immediately. Number 21. Credit union pre-approval eliminates dealer profit. The finance office isn't there to help you, it's a profit center. When you walk in with pre-approved financing from a credit union or military lender, you've just removed the dealer's ability to mark up your interest rate. We'll get into exactly how that markup works in a moment, but understand this. External financing forces the dealer to compete solely on the bike's price and the removal of padded fees. Their finance department becomes nothing more than a benchmark. Lock in a rate for 90 days before you shop, and you've neutralized their most sophisticated profit mechanism. Number 20. Large down payments don't buy down rates. Dealers love pressuring buyers into massive down payments, claiming it'll secure a lower interest rate. That's tactical misdirection. If your credit is solid, you should access the lender's lowest rate regardless of down payment size. The real reason they want that cash up front is to secure the loan, protect their commission, and close the deal before you reconsider. Your down payment should reduce the principal you're financing, not mask the dealer's inability to get you a competitive rate. Don't let them weaponize your cash against you. Number 19. Gap insurance costs 3 times more at the dealership. Guaranteed asset protection insurance covers the gap between your loan balance and the insurance payout if your bike gets totaled. Dealers charge between $500 and $1,000 for this coverage. The secret? Your own insurance company offers identical protection for $200 to $300. That's a 300% markup for the exact same product. Always purchase GAP coverage independently. The dealer's version exists solely to pad their finance office numbers. Number 18. Payment packing hides the real cost. This tactic is surgical. The finance manager presents everything in terms of monthly payment, never the total price. When they add expensive warranties and gap insurance, they extend your loan term from 60 months to 72 or 84 months. Your monthly payment stays roughly the same, so it feels affordable, but you've just committed to thousands in additional interest in high-margin products. They've successfully hidden the true cost by stretching time. Always calculate the total amount you'll pay over the loan's life. That number reveals what the monthly payment conceals. Now we need to talk about where the dealer actually makes their money, and it's not where you think. Number 17, your warranty money funds, their private investment account. When you buy an extended warranty, a portion goes into a reserve fund for future claims. Here's what they don't tell you. Dealers establish their own micro-insurance companies to hold these reserves. Industry data shows that only 60 to 70% of warranty funds ever get paid out in claims. The remaining 30 to 40% transfers as profit to the dealer's reinsurance company, often based offshore for tax advantages. You're not just buying a warranty, you're funding a long-term, tax-advantaged investment vehicle for the dealership owner. This is why they push warranties so aggressively. The immediate commission is just the beginning. Number 16, the finance manager lives on commission. That person in the finance office isn't a neutral advisor. Their entire compensation structure depends on selling high-margin products like extended warranties, service plans, and protective coatings. Their employment metrics are based on penetration rate, which measures the percentage of customers who buy these add-ons. They're not matching you with suitable products. They're maximizing the number of high markup items they can attach to your purchase, understand their incentive structure, and their tactics become transparent. Number 15, they mark up your interest rate and keep the difference. Here's how dealer financing actually works. The lender provides a buy rate based on your credit score. That's the minimum interest rate they'll accept. The dealer then marks this rate up to a sell rate, which is what they quote you. The difference between these two rates is called dealer reserve, and the dealership keeps it entirely. This incentivizes them to sell you the highest rate possible. Even a 1% markup on a $15,000 loan generates significant profit over 60 months. This is why pre-approval from an external lender is so powerful. It eliminates this entire profit mechanism. Number 14, motorcycle loans are categorized as toys. Lenders classify motorcycles as recreational purchases, not necessities. This designation results in higher base interest rates compared to car loans, even for borrowers with excellent credit. People with credit scores above 800 often see base rates starting around 8% without manufacturer assistance programs. This high baseline gives dealers substantial room to mark up rates while still appearing competitive. The market already works against you. Don't let the dealer compound that disadvantage. Number 13, multi-state tax rules create confusion. They exploit. When you buy out of state, you typically don't pay sales tax at purchase. You pay it when registering in your home state. Dealers capitalize on buyer confusion around these rules to introduce bogus charges disguised as necessary transit tag fees or duplicate registration costs. The defense is simple but requires homework. Know your home state's exact tax rate and which fees are legally required. Refuse any charge that can't be verified as mandatory in your state. They rely on your uncertainty. Remove that, and this tactic collapses. Before we continue, if you want to avoid getting taken advantage of the next time you're at a dealership, consider subscribing. Most riders learn these lessons the expensive way. You're getting the blueprint right now. Number 12, mandatory accessories are never actually mandatory. GPS trackers, premium protection packages, electronic devices. Dealers call these mandatory and charge anywhere from $150 to $600 initially, plus monthly service fees. These accessories carry enormous profit margins, which is why they're pushed so hard. In subprime financing deals, the GPS tracker doubles as a recovery device if you default. If a dealer insists something is mandatory, demand that the full cost be absorbed into your negotiated out-the-door price. Watch how quickly mandatory becomes optional. The mandatory accessory claim relies on you not understanding consumer protection law. No dealer can legally force you to purchase accessories as a condition of sale unless they're installed before you begin negotiations and clearly disclosed as part of the vehicle's advertised price. When a dealer claims a GPS tracker or protection package is mandatory, they're gambling that you won't challenge them. The moment you threaten to walk or demand cost absorption into the OTD price, the requirement mysteriously disappears. This reveals the truth. These accessories are optional profit centers disguised as requirements. Number 11. The documentation fee is almost pure profit. This fee supposedly covers titling, registration, and paperwork. In unregulated states, it ranges from $150 to $800. The actual cost to the dealer for this administrative work? A fraction of what they charge. $700 for 30 minutes of paperwork is pure margin disguised as an unavoidable administrative necessity. Some states cap this fee. If yours doesn't, this becomes a major negotiation point. Since it's almost entirely profit, dealers have significant room to reduce or eliminate it. Documentation fees represent one of the most egregious examples of profit padding because they masquerade as governmental or regulatory requirements. Buyers assume these fees are fixed and necessary, like taxes. In reality, most of the documentation fee compensates the dealer for work that would be performed regardless. Processing titles and registration is part of the standard sales process, not an additional service deserving separate compensation. States that cap documentation fees typically limit them to $50 to $200, proving that higher charges are simply profit extraction. Number 10. Reconditioning fees on low-mileage bikes are fabricated. A used bike with under 300 miles does not need $680 in reconditioning. When dealers apply flat-rate reconditioning fees regardless of condition, they're revealing the fee as a systematic profit center rather than actual cost recovery. This is a guaranteed back-end margin on every used unit. Demand a detailed, itemized service invoice, proving the labor and parts that justify any reconditioning charge. Most dealers can't produce one because the work was never done. Legitimate reconditioning includes specific verifiable work, tire replacement, brake service, fluid changes, chain adjustment, and safety inspection. These services have quantifiable costs. When a dealer charges reconditioning on a bike with 300 miles and fresh tires, they're admitting the fee is fictional. The service invoice requirement forces transparency. If they perform $600 in work, documentation should exist. When dealers refuse to provide itemization or become defensive about the request, they're confirming the fee is pure profit. This challenge often results in immediate fee reduction or elimination. Number 9. Setup fees are massively inflated. Pre-delivery inspection and setup fees are supposed to cover technician, time assembling, and inspecting a new bike. Technicians get paid flat rate for this work, and modern bikes have standardized setup processes. The markup occurs because the dealer charges you their full shop labor rate for what's often minimal actual work. They're converting a cost-neutral service charge into pure gross profit using inflated labor rates. Challenge every setup fee as part of your total out-the-door negotiation. Modern motorcycles arrive at dealerships requiring minimal assembly. Most Japanese and European manufacturers ship bikes nearly complete, requiring only handlebar installation, mirror attachment, and fluid level verification. This work takes a skilled technician 30 to 60 minutes. When dealers charge setup fees equivalent to 3 or 4 hours of labor, they're exploiting buyer ignorance about actual assembly requirements. The setup fee often exceeds the technician's actual pay for the work, with the difference going directly to dealer profit. Number 8. Freight fees are legitimate, but markups aren't. Freight charges cover transporting the bike from factory to dealer. This cost is real and necessary for new bikes. However, dealers frequently mark it up for profit. The maximum legitimate charge should match the exact factory rate, which you can verify on the manufacturer's website. Never accept freight plus profit margin. And here's a fundamental rule. Used motorcycles should never carry a freight charge because the original owner already paid it. If you see freight on a used bike, that's pure dealer profit. Manufacturer websites typically list destination charges in their MSRP breakdowns. This number represents the actual cost of shipping from factory to dealership. When a dealer adds freight above this amount, they're double dipping. Some dealers justify higher freight charges by claiming additional transport costs from regional distribution centers to individual dealerships. This explanation is fraudulent. Factory destination charges already account for complete delivery to the selling dealer. Any markup beyond the published factory rate is profit extraction using a legitimate expenses cover. Number 7, only the out-the-door price matters. This is your primary defense against the fee shell game. If you negotiate individual fees or MSRP separately, the dealer can play accounting tricks. You might get $1,000 off the sticker price but accept $1,000 in padded fees, resulting in zero net savings. By demanding a single, all-inclusive, out-the-door price before any negotiation starts, you force the dealer to absorb their internal padded charges into the bike's gross margin. They either disclose and justify every high-margin fee or eliminate them to meet your target price. The out-the-door strategy works because it prevents compartmentalized negotiation. Dealers train salespeople to negotiate in stages. First the bike price, then the trade-in, then financing, then fees. This fragmentation obscures the total transaction cost and creates multiple opportunities for profit extraction. When you demand an OTD price, you're collapsing all these stages into a single number. The dealer must either meet your target or explain why they can't. This transparency eliminates their ability to manipulate individual components while maintaining overall profit. Number 6, invoice price isn't the real floor. The manufacturer's suggested retail price is irrelevant in serious negotiation. The true price floor is the dealer's invoice cost. But even this isn't the absolute bottom. Dealers receive factory holdback, a quarterly rebate based on sales volume. This holdback effectively lowers their true cost below invoice. They can sell at or slightly below invoice and still profit from the holdback payment. Understanding this lets you push the price aggressively below invoice, forcing the dealer to maximize profit through back-end fees rather than vehicle margin. Factory holdback programs incentivize volume sales by rebating a percentage of invoice cost back to dealers quarterly based on total units sold. This rebate typically ranges from 2 to 3% of MSRP. On a $15,000 motorcycle, holdback might represent $400 to $500 in additional profit beyond the margin between invoice and selling price. Dealers protect holdback information aggressively because revealing it empowers customers to negotiate below invoice. When you demand invoice pricing, you're not pushing to their actual cost floor. You're leaving holdback profit intact while eliminating advertised margin. Number 5, the trade-in lowball is psychological warfare. When they appraise your bike, they're not just assessing condition. They're gauging your negotiation threshold. The appraiser is trained to exaggerate minor issues, like tires that might need replacement in a few hundred miles. This creates immediate leverage for an artificially low offer without you stating a target price first. By establishing a low anchor, the dealer creates negotiation room. When you push back, they concede a couple $100s, making you feel successful while their margin stays intact. Counter this by addressing minor maintenance issues beforehand and conducting your own detailed inspection. The lowball offer serves multiple strategic purposes. First, it anchors the negotiation at a favorable starting point for the dealer. Second, it allows them to make concessions that feel significant to you, but cost them minimally. Third, it tests your knowledge and confidence. A seller who immediately accepts a lowball offer signals they're unsophisticated and vulnerable to additional manipulation. Your response to the initial offer tells the dealer how aggressively they can negotiate throughout the rest of the transaction. Number 4, they use different valuation guides for buying and selling. When acquiring your bike as a trade-in, dealers reference the lowest possible valuation, often internal auction data, or the low end of Kelley Blue Book. But when they resell that same bike, they strategically use the higher NADA retail valuation to justify their list price. NADA values typically run higher than KBB. This dual standard maximizes their acquisition profit. Your counter is simple. Always negotiate your trade-in using the highest available benchmark, specifically NADA retail or comparable market data. The valuation guide manipulation exposes how dealers create artificial margin through strategic data selection. No single valuation guide is definitively correct. Market value depends on location, condition, demand, and timing. By selectively choosing the lowest guide for acquisition and the highest guide for sale, dealers manufacture profit from the spread between valuation sources rather than providing value through service or inventory management. When you insist on using the same valuation guide for both directions of the transaction, you eliminate this manufactured spread. Number 3, dealers face severe quarterly cash flow pressure. Dealership owners often struggle to track where profit actually goes because it migrates into inventory and liability payments rather than staying as liquid cash. This creates intense pressure on sales staff to meet monthly and quarterly quotas. Managers have non-negotiable targets for finance penetration rates and gross profit collection. This internal anxiety becomes your opportunity. Dealers are most vulnerable to aggressive negotiation and price concessions late in the month or quarter when targets are tight and cash flow is critical. Timing your purchase strategically leverages their financial desperation. Floor plan financing creates constant cash pressure for dealers. When they stock inventory, they borrow money from lenders who charge interest on every unit sitting unsold. This interest accrues daily, meaning every bike on the floor costs money. At month-end and quarter-end, dealers face simultaneous pressures: floor plan interest accumulation, sales quota targets, and cash flow requirements for operational expenses. A bike that's been sitting for 90 days has accumulated significant holding costs. The dealer's willingness to discount increases proportionally, with holding time and proximity to reporting deadlines. Number 2, they don't profit on the bike, they profit on the paper. For dealership owners, real profitability comes from financial products and fees, collectively called the paper. The salesperson's job is to make you happy enough with the front-end price negotiation that you lower your defenses before meeting the finance manager. The finance manager's sole objective is extracting profit from marked-up service contracts, financing reserve, and ancillary products. The motorcycle sale is just the required foundation for building the high-profit financial structure. This is why they'll sometimes negotiate aggressively on price. They're planning to recover everything in the finance office. The paper-focused business model explains behavior that otherwise seems contradictory. Why would a dealer sell a bike at or near cost? Because the real profit comes from financing markup, warranty sales, GAP insurance, and accessory packages. The vehicle sale merely qualifies the customer for the high-margin back-end products. This understanding changes how you interpret dealer flexibility on price. Aggressive discounting doesn't indicate generosity. It indicates confidence that they'll recover margin through financing and F&I products. When you eliminate those profit centers through external financing and product refusal, price flexibility often disappears. Number 1, their true margin is 15 to 20%, not 4%. Dealers frequently claim they operate on razor-thin margins, citing industry averages around 4% net profit. This number is deliberately misleading. The critical figure is gross profit margin on vehicle sales, which typically runs between 15 and 20%. That substantial buffer must cover operational overhead like inventory carrying costs, salaries, and utilities before yielding the final 4% net profit. This large gross profit window means the dealer has significant room to lower the bike's price, provided they can extract high-margin revenue through back-end fees or finance products. Their defensive strategy is convincing you the margin is already exhausted. It's not. The margin deception relies on conflating gross and net profit. Gross margin is the space available for negotiation. Net profit is what remains after all expenses. When a dealer claims 4% margins, they're referencing net profit while hoping you don't understand that 15% gross margin exists above it. This 15% buffer covers fixed costs that exist regardless of whether you purchase or not. The building lease, utility bills, and base salaries are already committed. Your negotiation doesn't affect those costs. The only variable is how much of that 15% gross margin transfers to you as savings versus the dealer as profit. Now that you know how dealers really make their money, there's something else you need to understand before you buy. Some motorcycles look like solid investments until you're 3 years in and drowning in repair costs that nobody warned you about. Check out my video, 13 popular motorcycles that are secretly money pits, to discover which bikes will drain your wallet long after you've negotiated the perfect deal.